So what is your definition of social justice and where does it come from?
For me, social justice is a world where everyone has the rights and the opportunities to live a dignified and sustainable life. Many times when I think about social justice work, I think about my mother, who is a warrior. She's a role model for me. She's an incredible woman who has lived an extraordinary journey across borders to try to find a better life for her children, for her family. And I thank her for it. I do sit and wonder who my mom would have wanted to be had she had even half of the opportunities that I have been given thanks to her sacrifice. And I mentioned that because I think that a lot of times there's people that don't fully get to live the life that they deserve because of systems, inequities, policies that don't work for us. So I think for me, I'm always thinking about how we can create just a better way for people to not just be surviving, but really living the life that they want to live and becoming who they want to be, whatever that may be. So social justice for me is addressing those inequities and creating a vision where your reality, my definition of that is possible.
Can you tell us more about the powerful work of Alianza Americas?
Alianza Americas is a national network of 58 Latin American and Caribbean immigrant-led organizations. They're based in 18 different states, including Washington, D.C. And this organization was founded in 2004 amidst a very historical moment for immigration policy and immigrant communities. Our founders, Central American and Mexican founders, many of them coming from the Civil War in El Salvador, poverty, violence in our communities, came together to discuss how we could create a platform where immigrants could speak for themselves about what could address the root causes of migration and what type of relief was needed for communities in that moment. So from the very beginning, Alianza Americas took the approach of not only proposing or looking at easy fixes for things that are very complex, but to really talk about why it was that people were migrating and how we could address that. Because many people, if you ask them why they migrated, they'll tell you they didn't want to, but because of many reasons, they were forced to. And today, Alianza Americas continues to be that platform, that place where migrants themselves come together to speak on different issues that impact our lives, not just migration policy. It is one of our priorities, but we also understand that there's many things that lead to us having a better way of life, a more dignified way of life, including social inequities, healthcare, climate change, tax policies. These are all different things that oftentimes immigrants are not asked about, but it does impact us. We do contribute to these systems. So Alianza Americas is that place where we are able to bring the voices of those from grassroots movements, truly understanding the impacts of the policies that are currently in place.
Can you tell us about the cultural importance of care in Latin American cultures? We know that it's a diverse range of cultures, but are there any common threads?
As I mentioned, and as you just said, they're very diverse. Indigenous groups, Central Americans, other groups from countries have their own values, traditions, beliefs. But a few things that come to mind that are common threads are the sense of collectivism. As Latin American, as somebody who's Mexican, I grew up with the value of taking care of one another. And when I say that, it doesn't only mean my immediate family, but also, my cousins, my neighbor, somebody that is attending our church or somebody at the grocery store, that feeling and responsibility of being kind and showing care for those around you. The other one is the role of matriarchs. In many Latin American families, especially in indigenous and Afro-descendant communities, matriarchy plays a central role in family life. That means that women, often mothers, grandmothers, or aunts, hold significant authority and responsibility in managing their households, making decisions, providing emotional and economic support. So women are really a pillar of the family. And I think sometimes that feels a little bit contradictory because we see certain patriarchs in Latin American households, which is why sometimes it's often said that matriarchs are the informal head of the household, because there still exists the challenges of patriarchy dominating certain parts of our culture. But I think mothers and women carry a lot of load to ensure that generations of our families are taken care of and feel supported. I think that is something beautiful about our culture. And at the same time, I think that there are things that we need to address to ensure that women are not just carrying the load by themselves, but that they're also cared and supported for at the same time.
For immigrants, their families, and communities who are seeking basic comforts like safety and security where they live. How can we all be taking care of mental and emotional health of immigrants and their families during this time?
Alianza Americas actually has a mental health project right now going on in Chicago that has to do with addressing the stigma around mental health in immigrant communities, also connecting them to providers that can support their mental well-being. And I think what we're finding is that stigma continues to be an issue among migrant communities, but there are also other people that, for them, that's not a thing, and really they're just looking to find a place of validation. So I think something that we need to be doing right now in more spaces is naming and recognizing the real fear that immigrant communities are living through, and also finding ways to create community building opportunities, because in this moment it's feeling extremely isolating. We are calling it almost a second or worse than the pandemic, because people are staying home, people are isolating themselves, people are hiding, and we need to find ways, whether it's digital or in person if it's safe, to make people feel seen, recognized in a manner that feels safe to them, but that shows them that they're valued in our communities. So I think that validation and that space for care is very much needed. And at the same time, there needs to be more investment in providers that can provide that linguistic and cultural care for migrant communities in this moment.